Look at this dude.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hey man, if you haven't already, then so make sure you are subscribed to the channel, smash the like button, click that bell while you're at it so you can be a part of the Post Know the Gang family. Best family on YouTube, and that's no cap, hands down. Hey man, we are here for YouTube creator Jamari. Druski Allegations. Now, to be honest, I haven't heard too much about Druski in regards of any allegations or drama he's in. I know a little bit about him due to the comedy side of things, but other than that, I don't know what's going on. But we're gonna do Let's Talk More Reacted. Let's dive right into this video. Let's go.
So Druski has been an up-and-coming star for around the last 4 years. He was ushered into the internet game around the same time as his good friend Jack Harlow, and it was like as Jack was rising up the ranks of music, Druski was rising up the ranks of comedy. During that time, he has become the most infamous skit comedian online, and this has obviously afforded him,
to be honest, he's a funny motherfucker, you feel me?
many opportunities, including his own show, countless sponsorships and commercials, features in movies, steak and Happy Dad alcoholic beverages, a feature on 2K, a comedy tour, and frequent collaborations with the biggest streamers and comedians in the world. Basically, this man became a cash cow, as Druski has an insane ability to take everyday situations and types of people and turn them into a viral skit or a meme. And his comedy just has this way of reflecting and predicting in real life situations.
See, that's not how I know Druski. That's interesting how he blew up like that, but I didn't start knowing who Druski was until he started appearing on people's streams, like Kai Cenat and stuff like that, and like the clip with Kevin Hart. I've seen like video clips and things in that nature, and then like he has like a record label or something like that. But
now Druski has found himself wrapped up in the Diddy situation, as he and his friends in
I feel like everybody in the industry is wrapped up in the Diddy situation, bro. That's crazy.
Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. have been listed in some of these Diddy accusations. But the claims they are throwing around here are honestly so outlandish that it almost makes this hard to believe. Now, yesterday was when this bombshell would hit the timeline. In the matter of Ashley Parham versus Sean Diddy Combs, an amended complaint names 2 more plaintiffs and several additional defendants, including Odell Beckham Jr., Druski, and a myriad of other people. So previously it was just Ashley Parham versus Sean Diddy Combs, and then a couple John Does that were not listed, and now those John Does, the main ones, have been listed as Druski and Odell Beckham Jr. In total, Druski's name is actually listed 45 different times in this lawsuit, but these are the key details that really make everyone think that this is pretty far-fetched.
Dang, bro, I swear, I feel like ever since like Diddy came crashing down and getting locked up and stuff, it's affecting a lot of people in the industry, bruh.
Defendant Diddy then instructed another
and a lot of people involved, bro.
Defendant Doe to also violate plaintiff Defendant Doe, who has been determined to be Defendant Druski, is what they're alleging. They say instead of immediately violating the plaintiff, Defendant Druski doused plaintiff with more oil and lubricant and then jumped on top of the plaintiff's naked and oiled body, treating it like a slip and slide, and knocking the wind out of the plaintiff due to his enormous size. So they're saying Druski was in there slipping and sliding all around. Defendant Druski then caught himself from sliding over the plaintiff's oiled body, and off the bed, he then began violating the plaintiff through her reproductive parts. While Defendant Druski...
Bro, what? Oh my god.
He was violating the plaintiff, Defendant Diddy sat in a chair near the bed and began pleasuring himself while recording plaintiff's violation by Defendant Druski. Another party's phone fell on the bed near the plaintiff. The plaintiff then attempted to grab the
These are some crazy allegations, bro. That's
phone, but it slipped out of her hands and onto the floor due to the oil/lubricant that had been doused all over her person by defendants Diddy and Druski. Obviously, at this point, the baby oil is like infamous in this Diddy case. For those of you who don't remember,
Johnson & Johnson probably is overwhelmed with how much baby oil is being produced.
Remember, they claimed that they discovered over 1,000 bottles of laced baby oil in Diddy's house.
Bro.
And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Defendant Diddy
Bro, can you imagine the cleanup process? Oh, hell no.
began laughing at plaintiff's attempt to grab the phone. Throughout this violent gang violation, defendant Diddy made constant belittling remarks to plaintiff, including that he owned her now. When defendant Druski was finished violating the plaintiff, defendant KK entered the room to examine the condition of the plaintiff, who was barely able to move or control her bodily functions. And they say this is when they attached her to an IV and pretty much brought her back to life, made sure she wasn't gonna die.
Damn, what the fuck are they doing? On top of oiling them up, sounds like they drugging them up too.
And that was apparently when Diddy, Shane, who is apparently the man who introduced Diddy to this person, KK, Odell, and Druski then exited the residence to the backyard where they smoked marijuana and cigarettes. And so obviously this all had the internet going absolutely wild. Of course, people immediately started resurfacing old clips of Diddy hanging out with Druski.
Don't mind if I do.
This was a commercial.
They were basically saying that this clip hits different now, as it was also rumored that Diddy had been lacing drinks at his infamous parties.
We ain't gonna see Diddy anytime soon, bro. That's crazy.
I wouldn't.
Shot.
Druski was also asked at one point what it was like to attend these Diddy parties.
You ever been to one of Diddy parties? Yeah, I've been in attendance. Hey, what the fuck you smirking for?
You seen that?
I've been in attendance.
We just asked you regular
That's all I
questions.
said. That's all I said. I said I've been in attendance. I have been in attendance.
We never
Sounds like you kind of hiding something there, Druski.
been. We just asking.
We just asked. Yeah.
It's
As
just a
soon as
simple
you asked,
question.
she said,
You had fun? I ain't seen that.
"Yeah, you did."
I ain't seen that.
Yeah, I had fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a party. I wasn't at one of them parties.
We ain't seen that about party.
Ain't nobody say nothing, my butt.
Y'all smart. I have been in attendance at a puff party. You know what I'm saying? I've been in attendance.
I've been there.
Yeah.
But not like that.
I went to, it was girls turn up, you know what I'm saying? The regular, you know what I mean? Other celebrities and shit, yeah.
That's what you doing.
Now obviously Druski does like to troll. Yes, his body language became a little bit uncomfortable, but you do have to keep in mind that thousands of different people have been to these Diddy parties, allegedly.
Yeah.
And obviously when they're all asked about it, they all say, well, you know, I went to the Diddy party, but I didn't go to...
I wonder if they gotta sign something as they attend the party, because I'm surprised if this has been going on for quite some time. I'm surprised it hasn't come out sooner. It's just now coming out that he's been doing this all this time, bro. So I'm just wondering if, like, when you attend the party, like, do you have to sign a document as, like, before you even walk in? Like,
to, like, the Diddy party, like, the behind the doors party that was going on. So then I started questioning, well, what was Diddy's relationship with Druski? And as you guys can see here, back in 2021, Druski did have this show called Sneaking In with Druski. And upon further inspection, you can see that this was airing on Revolt, which was a media network that was primarily owned and founded by Sean Diddy Combs. And although he no longer owns any shares in the company, back in 2021 he was still running that shit, and he presumably gave that opportunity to his boy Druski. I also thought that this little tidbit was interesting because Odell Beckham Jr. and Druski have been friends for quite a few years now. Baltimore...
hence the blonde hair Druski has.
Ravens wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. struck up a friendship with Druski upon finding his videos and invited the comedian to stay at his home during the COVID-19 pandemic. And obviously the pandemic was back in early 2020, and that's where these dates really start not matching up, because the defendant is saying that this happened on March 23rd, 2018. Way before Druski was even remotely famous or known online, where the defendant says that this guy Shane invited the plaintiff over to his home to assist him with his cancer medications because he stated he was weak and unable to open his medications. She says upon her arrival that this guy Shane wanted to give her a ride in his new car, and she says this is when this guy Shane pretty much set her up for the violation that allegedly involved Diddy, Druski, and OBJ. Now, much like with Jay-Z with his recent Diddy accusations...
I didn't even know Odell was a part of this whole thing, because, like, I haven't seen anything, like, online in regards of Odell being a part of this whole situation. But that's crazy. The top three is obviously Diddy, and then you got Druski, and then Odell. That's...
Druski would respond swiftly to this filing, where he says the allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke and living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation, so the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives. So he kind of has the same stance that Jay-Z had back a couple months ago, saying this whole thing is a bunch of bullshit and the timeline isn't even really adding up. And of course, when something like this comes out, you're gonna have a lot of people running with the story, like this tweet that went viral where this girl says, "I can't believe hashtag Odo Beckham Jr. and hashtag Druski are in this new Diddy lawsuit taking turns violating this girl." Wow. You had other popular hip-hop and media...
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to believe any of that because, like Druski said, like, he wasn't even a public figure back then. And then on top of that, like, even when it comes to Odell and stuff like that, I just feel like once you get to a certain status in the industry, like, hopefully you have the common sense to not do certain things, or, like, you have to be extra careful. Even when people are out there falsely accusing you of something, you got to make sure you have your ducks in a row to prove your innocence, man. Because when you make it to the top, you're going to have people that's coming after you and your money.
Pages saying Druski did what? The same sentiment is shared here, ironically including this misinformation meme. Then you had people using Druski's own skits against him, like this guy who says there's no way that this Druski shit is real. Shit! Basically saying that was Druski's reaction to this information. Another user says Druski after someone didn't give him consent. This guy specifically seems to really be leading the charge when it comes to these Druski jokes about this very serious situation. He says Druski's lawyer
Nobody on the internet, I feel like, takes things serious, bro. Everybody's a troll.
now.
We got good and bad news. Good news, we got your payment, buddy. Bad news, they gave you life. Sayonara.
So yeah, it's just crazy to see this guy's own skits and various statements being used against him at this point, even if it is a joke. These are the type of things that people try to get off online, and they do end up going viral. And it's really all just for a couple little Twitter shekels and a little bit of clout. Like, it's not worth making this type of weird, shitty joke, whether you believe he's guilty for some reason or not. Because honestly, I think it's a whole bunch of nonsense.
Nah, I would have to agree.
People making more serious statements like this. Okay, so now that Druski was named in the Diddy lawsuit for a gang violation, this creepy skit he made in 2022 about guys getting girls drunk to have sex with them is aging so horribly. And it's like, does the person that posted this not understand that the entire point of this skit was to pretty much dog out guys that act like this? Like, the whole point of the skit is to say that guys who act like this are pieces of shit. Now, here is a clip from 4 months ago of this...
Bro, that's one thing about the internet. The internet is funny as hell, man. Like, honestly, like, I laugh at a lot of things when I go online, man, because, like, it's a lot of trash you see.
News network, and of the lawyer representing this woman, Ashley Parham, in this case, and now these other two Jane Does, speaking on behalf of her client and the entire situation.
Well, her attorney says she was in her 30s at the time of this alleged violent attack. It happened just about half a mile away from the Orinda police station here in a quiet neighborhood about 6 years ago.
So yeah, 6 years ago, long before Druski was...
It's just crazy how people can come forward, like, so far later in the future. I just feel like there's got to be a timeline, man. Like, if you're gonna come out with, like, certain allegations, do it quickly. Don't wait years and years and years and years down the road. And I get it. I understand that they probably, like, the women and stuff like that, they probably had to sign things to where they couldn't even speak about the situation, things of that nature. But still, like, why now? That's all I'm saying.
Was known at all.
Ashley Parham says in 2018, Diddy and his entourage violently gangbang style her in Orinda. Her attorney, Ariel Mitchell, says it all started when she met a man named Shane Pierce in a bar in Contra Costa County, who began a FaceTime call with Diddy.
She actually made a quip about Mr. Combs having something to do, that she didn't like him because he had something to do with Tupac's murder.
The lawsuit says Parham believed Pierce invited her over to set her up to be by Diddy. The Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office told us in a statement, a report was taken on March 23, 2018. We take these cases seriously, and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined the claims were unfounded.
And that does make things a little bit more interesting for me, because obviously a legitimate report was made at that time, but even back then the
Oh, so it was reported back then? Interesting.
police say, well, we found no wrongdoing. As a matter of fact, they're saying we don't believe this ever even happened.
She also reported the incident to Walnut Creek Police and Orinda Police without naming Diddy, as she felt she would not be believed. The woman who lives there confirms Pierce lived there, but
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, you know, in regards of not wanting to come forward like that, because it is going to bring a lot of attention, and then obviously a lot of hate will come with it as well. So yeah,
that he was too sick with cancer and ALS to have done this. She also says Pierce did not know Diddy.
So they're saying this guy has not only cancer, but also ALS. Now, if I really want to get into my conspiracy bag, I want to note here that I think that this all could just be a mastermind smokescreen being set by Diddy and his legal team. It's like Pokemon, okay? The accuracy goes down once you set the smokescreen. Because recently, the case against Jay-Z has been dropped without prejudice, which I believe means that they cannot, like, try to bring it back up in court. They cannot try Jay-Z again for the same thing. Obviously, there was
I didn't even know they were coming after Jay-Z. There's a lot that's going into that story with Diddy,
a
bro.
lot of holes in the timeline of that story. The accuser's own father said that he doesn't remember any of that taking place. And overall, the timeline and the series of events, especially when she came out on that news segment, just really were not adding up. And when the decision by the judge was made public and that entire thing was dismissed, Sean Combs' legal team would put out this statement. Today's complete dismissal by the 1-800 attorney is yet another confirmation that these lawsuits are built on falsehoods, not facts. For months, we have seen case after case filed by individuals hiding behind anonymity, pushed forward by an attorney more focused on media headlines than legal merit. Just like this claim, the others will fall apart because there is no truth to them. Sean Combs has never essayed or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. No number of lawsuits, sensationalized allegations, or media theatrics will change that reality. We will continue to fight these baseless claims and hold those responsible for these false claims. This is just the first of many that will not hold up in the court of law. And that's why I have the feeling that this entire thing is a bit of a smokescreen. Because if you have enough of these outrageous allegations coming out, it allows you to kind of start poking holes and giving a little bit of reasonable doubt to accusations that could actually be legit. And it's like the more outlandish they get, like describing Druski as using her as a slip and slide, and then the timeline not adding up at all, it just hurts the case.
To be honest, I can see Druski doing some ish like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Who were possibly actual victims.
But like more in like a playful, funny way, not like in like a serious essay way. You feel me?
Of abuse at the hands of P. Diddy. And at this point, it's like Diddy seems so seemingly stuck in this corner that it's like that's all they can do to kind of like alter the public perception a little bit. And as these cases start getting knocked down and dismissed, it kind of starts the social programming, and people start to think, well, maybe these other things aren't real either. And obviously on the other end of the spectrum, you're going to have a whole bunch of people just bringing up false claims because they want a payday, they want a settlement.
They want the attention, the clout, the money, the views,
just
the
seems
likes.
a little bit too outlandish for me personally to believe. And I think that it could definitely hurt real victims in this case. Either way, I want to know what you guys think about these accusations down below. As always, also want to thank
But yeah, man, y'all let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this whole situation. I learned a little bit in this video, man, because like I said, I didn't know like Odell was a part of it, Jay-Z was a part of it. I didn't know any of that. I didn't even know Druski had any drama going on like that, bro. It's crazy how far this goes when it comes to the whole Diddy situation. But anyways, y'all, if you guys made it to the end, I greatly appreciate it. Smash the like button, leave a comment, click that bell while you're at it. Till next time, I'm going to see y'all next time. I'm out.